Good afternoon, beautiful people. Welcome to Kate's Space. I'm starting a new journal and I thought I might bring you along and try and do quite a lot of it with you guys. This is an old book. It's from the 1930s that I spotted, and I thought what a great garden journal it would make. I mean, it's called The Gardener's Assistant. It was in really good nick. And so it's been sitting on my shelf partially. Well, I took the pages out of it. And it's just been sitting there waiting for me to get on with it. I had a look and I decided for a junk journal and a book this size, the spine probably needs to be wider. So I've taken the spine completely off. Now, Catherine at Sunnyside Journals always says when you gut a book, keep the signature intact or the text block intact, so especially if you're making a new spine, because you can pop it back in and get those nice hinges. So I haven't done that. You can see I've gutted it, but it's all separate. But the things I haven't done on camera because of the drying time is I Mod Podged the entire cover, and then I've sprayed it with an acrylic matte satin or matte acrylic, I think matte acrylic sealer. I've just done one coat and I haven't been like particularly sort of really super fussy about if there's brush strokes showing or not. I'm not too worried. And then I've cut myself a piece of this sort of mull which is going to hold the spine on, and I have made myself a curved spine. So again, this is something I learned from Catherine at Sunnyside Studios. She's got several different sort of sizes of dowel that she uses. I have this, which is obviously a rolling pin, so it's the only thing I have. I have the one size, and it obviously isn't long enough for this book, but anyway. And so I've wrapped stockings around it, and it's been left overnight. So we now have this round spine. Now this is made out of 2 pieces of hanging file folder glued together with PVA glue. That's all it is. Now this probably won't be a very long video because all I'm probably going to do is work on getting the spine on. If you've done this before, you'll know exactly how to do it. If you haven't, then hang around, and this is how I do it. There's lots of different ways. So that is quite a curved spine. I'm going to put this through the middle that way, I think. I'm just thinking. And then on the other side, I would still quite like to have this spine because it's in really good condition. So I thought about putting that on. And then I've got this fabric. I've looked at different fabrics and I'm thinking I quite like this. I thought maybe a heavy, this is quite heavy though, a heavy upholstery fabric with the greens. But I'm just wondering if I want the book to sit, sorry, I'm wondering whether I want the book to sit on top of that, but then you're going to see this. And then this will sit on top of that. Or whether I want the fabric to go, sorry, over the top there. So these are the decisions that need to be made. This frays quite badly, obviously, as you can see, and I don't want to cover up this. We don't want to see this though, do we, on the outside of the book? Right. Let's just see how we go. So that is the front. Line her up And that's the back, and I'm going to leave 1/4 of an inch, seems a lot. So you do need to leave a gap between the spine and the book board because it needs to be able to close, because look how thick the book board is, but it probably only needs to be about 1/8. Just a small amount. And then, so how about okay, first things first. I'm faffing, I'm sorry. I always do this when I'm doing this. Let's glue the cloth into the spine as evenly as we can, and then we can go about attaching it. I think that is the best idea. I'm just having a think about what kind of glue I want to use. Okay, so I'm going to go with this quick dry adhesive and hope that it is adequate. And I'm going to use lots. This is quite a curved spine, so it will, but I imagine as I get the book made, it will flatten out a little bit. Right. How is everybody? I hope you're all well. At the time of doing this video, I am without a printer, and I rang again for the 3rd time today because it's been nearly a month. And I spoke to the person who's meant to be fixing it, and he said he had tried to fix it and hadn't been able to. So he'd replaced the part, and it still prints skew with, so the print comes out on an angle. And so he has logged with Epson for a replacement printer. Epson are in Australia, not in New Zealand. Obviously, that is one of the problems we have, being a very small country. And so he is waiting to hear, and I said, well, how long will that take? And he said he did not know how long it would take for them to respond. So yeah, pretty frustrating. So I will be putting printables in this journal, so there will be only so much I can do until I get my printer back. That said, we do have another printer. The old one I had before I bought the one I use now, but it's just not as good as quality. So for some things it's fine, but I don't want to print a whole lot of things on it and then be disappointed with how it turned out. So yeah, right, so that is glued on. All the glue is coming through the netting there, but that's okay. And this is going to hold the book boards together. And this needs to be straight and even down here, and then this needs to go here. The best way, I think, for me to do this will be to line it up, I think. I just think 1/4 of an inch is going to be too big of a gap. Maybe not. Seems like a lot. So if we line the top of the book here with the line at the top, and then this one here, and we make sure this is the same. Now I am going to have to, maybe I'll do it sideways so I don't stick my head right in the camera, so I'll line up the top and hopefully the bottom will follow. Although I have just had my hair done, so I guess it wouldn't hurt to have my hair, my head in picture. Right, so I'm going to glue that there, I think. I'm just concerned that's just too much of a gap. Oh well, let's just see. Let's just do it, shall we? We'll put glue on the book board. Do I want to tuck the mull underneath here? Maybe I do. Let's just get something to lift this up. So yeah, if you've got an old book that you want to turn into a journal, then go grab it, come along for the ride. Don't always replace the spine, but the thing with junk journals is they do tend to get chunky, and then they become the sort of real gator mouth type situation. Right, okay, glue. And that's not always ideal. I don't mind it, to be fair, but just giving a bit more room, because we bind our pages in and they're fatter and we put stuff in them. I think just giving, yeah, making a bit more room is a good idea. Okay, glue, out you come. Would be great. So yeah, I'll put lots of glue down here. Hopefully this will hold. Should do. Some acetone based glue, so it should be good. Right, and then just check I'm lined up at the top and there along the edge, and then I'm going to line that bit of card with that same line, so that way it should be exactly the same as the top of the book. And this one, line it up there. And what I'm hoping is that will be straight. And there's a big gap there, so the book opens and closes easily. Hopefully. So just let that dry for a little while so it doesn't move. Put some more under here. Beautiful day again today. We have had some amazing weather finally, and it's just feeling so warm and spring-like, but I think we've got rain coming, but that's okay. I know that I'm going to be getting out in the garden at some point. I've got to move my veggie beds, my veggie sort of raised gardens, because where they are now they get shaded, and I want to move them further over into the sun so that maybe I have better luck with what I plant and grow. Today I went to the library after I've been to the hairdresser, and I think that's straight, because I'm trying to read more in the evenings. Before I go to sleep, I'm trying to read, and I haven't got a book at the moment, and books are expensive to purchase. Well, they are in New Zealand. So I thought I'd join the library, and I've got a list of books. You know, someone recommends me a book, I write it down, or it's in a list in my phone. And so I had a list, and none of them were at the library. So I was pretty disappointed, but I've grabbed the Jojo Moyes book, The Horse Dancer. So I don't know if anyone's read that. If you have, let me know what you thought. Hang on, I'm just thinking this way. Yeah, so I grabbed that, and then I was so close to the bookstore, so I went round the corner to the bookstore and I bought myself a book. Not one that I had on my list, actually, something different. I read the back of it and I thought it sounded really great. I think it's called The Community Garden or something. No, it's not that called that. Anyway, so I'll read the library book first, and then I might have to put some reserves or holds on some things that I want to read that are out. I think that's probably the way to do it, rather than just going to the library and then nothing being there and being disappointed. So long since I went to the library. It just felt so old school, and my card had expired. It's been so long. I haven't been since before Lily left home, so that's a long time ago. Right, now again, I'll line this one up with that line there, the same line as what the book is lined up with there, and same at this end. One does not want to line up. Oh, now I've moved the book, so that's not ideal. Okay, let's just try and get that back as it was. I'm going to have to put my head in the way, so I will probably edit this out. Okay, I think I got it. I'm not sure. Might not be perfect. Hope it's perfect. I don't want it to be wonky, but there we go. It's glued now. If the worst comes to the worst and it's super wonky, I will tear it apart and start again, because I don't know, I feel like a wonky book covers a pretty basic no for me. Probably doesn't really matter that much though when you think about it. It is a junk journal. So my idea for this is that it will be, yeah, see, that doesn't look straight there to me. I like a garden planning journal, so maybe I thought about putting the seasons in, which would be good. And then I thought about putting the months in, but then I thought if I put the months in, then do I do Northern Hemisphere or Southern Hemisphere for the season? You know, like if I'm trying to match the months with the seasons. So I'm going to have to do one or the other, not both, I think. So I'll either do the 4 seasons or, yeah, I think I'll do the 4 seasons. And then try and avoid anything that says any sort of dates or anything, because obviously someone from New Zealand or Australia or elsewhere that has the same seasons as us might want to purchase it. I'm not really much of a planner person, but I must admit, if I get more into it, something like this would be really helpful for me. Okay, so now the fabric over the top of that, I'm going to cut some of this. I've got plenty, so I don't think it really matters if I waste a piece or use a piece and then don't like it. I've got this one as well, which is kind of like, I think this is like a bark cloth. It's quite textured, but it's not, it's much lighter. And I imagine something sort of heavy. Oh, and then I was actually going to stitch this on. I think that's going to look nice. And I've got that fluffy bit up the top, which I might actually keep. So I don't want it to come any further over than that. And it doesn't matter if it goes a little bit further over at the back. So how big do we want this piece of fabric? We obviously want it to be from the selvage there. Let's measure it. That's 20, 25 and a half. I'm going to make it 26 centimeters. I'm going to cut it at 26. So the other thing I guess you could do is cover your spine with the fabric. I kind of wanted, I kind of wanted the covers on top of the fabric, but then I didn't know what to do with this piece here and here. So if anyone does it that way, can you let me know what you do to cover up that's been cut? Right, 26 centimeters. Let's do that. Try and cut it straight. I might fold it. How about that? I bought this, I think, in Australia. Yep, that's 26. Probably near the beginning of my junk journaling kind of venture. And it was at a junk place. It was this huge place full of just all sorts of things. Okay, I'm going to cut it there. That's how long it's been in my cupboard. A long time. Okay, so that gives us a smaller piece of fabric to work with. So that's going to be the top, because I kind of like that fluffy bit. And then we're going to just sort of, how much further over at the back do we want to go? Probably not too far, to be honest. That's only going to as far as there. So maybe there. Let's cut it down that way. And this is going to need a good amount of glue to glue on. I think I'll use some PVA for this actually. I know that doesn't fail. I'm just seeing, I'm feeling like that's lifting off there a little bit. Yeah, see, look. That's okay, I can remedy that. So there we go, there's our spine cover. And yes, I probably will trim that off at the bottom, but that's okay. So what I want to do is do the front. Do I want anything else poking out from underneath? I don't think so. I think I want to keep it quite, not, yeah, sort of plain, I guess, plainish. Okay, so I'm going to glue down here with my PVA. Try not to make too much mess, but I also need a really good amount. I want it to be strong and robust. Thank you everybody who made really lovely comments on the interview with Sue from Paper Inspirations. I really appreciated it. I wasn't sure whether I should comment, so I'll ask Sue about that because it's her channel, but gosh, people were so kind and supportive, and I feel very humbled, and I actually felt kind of loved and appreciated, which is, oh, I don't know, it was so nice. Does that sound a bit pathetic? I don't know, but anyway, it was so nice. Thank you, everybody. So I've covered up a little bit of the T, but not enough that you don't know what that word is. And I will actually run a little bit of glue along this fraying edge because this will stop it from fraying any further. Just rub it along like that. And then I need to wipe this off. I'm just going to get a wet wipe. I think I am anyway, yep. Just to get rid of that glue along there. That's a good thing about sealing the books, is it means you can actually use something like a wet wipe and it's not going to ruin the fabric or the paint. So I did give this a wipe before I put the Mod Podge on, and if you wipe an old book you'll see the paint comes off on the wet wipe. You have to be really careful that you don't scrub it and you end up lifting up all the paint. So then I'm going to glue the rest of it, and that needs to be able to go into that hinge gap there. Right. Good. Okay, some more glue. Let's just do it, shall we? Let's get the glue on. And then that's probably all we'll do. Oops, see, now that's come off, so I probably should have done the whole lot. Okay, there you go. That's something to learn. Do the whole lot. I'm going to put some glue in there, some glue in that gap there, and then some glue down here as well. And some more glue there. I guess that's a good thing about the thick fabric, it can handle lots of glue. Hopefully I haven't overdone it. Just smudge it around. I may have overdone it. Never mind. Hopefully not. Where's my wet wipe? Okay. I'm going to put that back on. I want it like about there. Now I want it to go in that gap, but I want it to come from that side, not this side, and then over and into that gap. I think that's what I want. Glue here, but that's okay. I'll just wipe this mat, even though this mat is very dirty. I tried to replace this actually, but I had to replace my heat tool. One of the prongs came off the plug. I think I stood on it, and then when I tried to bend it back it wouldn't go. So David tried to fix it and he said no, that's going to take too. There was something else that was a problem as well, so he said no, that's going to take too long, you're better off just replacing it. So I've replaced it with one of the Tim Holtz or Ranger ones, which has a European plug on it, so I'm going to have to get myself one of those adapters. And while I was at it I thought, oh well, I'll get a new mat, cutting mats, because that one is, I admit, very grotty. But they didn't have any, they were sold out, so I went to another shop and they had the mat, but they didn't have the heat tool. So I just gave up. I just went, oh well, I'll just get the heat tool because I know I'm going to come across something I want to do, some embossing or drying something, and I won't have it and I'll be annoyed. Whereas I've got the cutting mat, and although it looks grotty, it still works for fussy cutting and measuring that sort of things. Okay, how are we doing? Not sure if we've done that right. I think I probably need to let that dry a bit more, and then we'll wrap it around the text block and let it dry, so that this, because this, how do we want that to go? We want it to go like that, do we? Trying to think about how we want it to go. Yeah, so it keeps moving, so I need to just leave well enough alone, and then we'll work out how we want it to be. There it is. It's quite a tall book. I think it's going to be fun to make, challenging to find papers, because it is, as I measured it before, but it's just over 26 by 17 and a bit, so nice big size. And I thought, oh, some grid papers and maybe something that folds out with the calendar in it, some pockets and lots of writing and planning space in it, and then with some lovely botanical, I'd like to do some, yeah, lots of botanical, well, not too many, not too decorated, but botanical pictures and things. So this is my idea. We will see how it develops or not. And hopefully I'll have a printer, because I have an idea. I think there's some digitals I'll probably want to try and use. And I would like to use my good printer if I can. Otherwise, we'll have to wait. Okay, so there we go. There's our beautiful round spine with our lovely tapestry. I love that. I think it looks really nice. I hope you like it. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're crafting along. If you're new and you haven't, or if you're new to junk journaling, this will hopefully be helpful. If you're not new to junk journaling, then you can have a good old giggle at my faffing. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.